So everyone's fine to get started? Grania, Kat?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm good.
Hello, everyone. And it's really great to have you today on our webinar on how to make the most of Giving Tuesday now. It feels like a great opportunity to talk about a new idea coming from the Giving Tuesday team. And we're very excited actually to have today both Grania from London and Giving Tuesday UK, but also Kathleen from Giving Tuesday US. And if you haven't said already so, feel free to say hello at the chat and send any messages you want throughout the webinar. My name is Teresa Litza. I'm a social media and content marketing manager at Lightful. And I'm actually very happy to have with me today Kathleen Murphy-Toms, Director of Digital Strategy at Giving Tuesday, and Grania Matthews, Giving Tuesday UK lead. Welcome both. It's really great to have you on board.
Thanks so much for having us, Teresa.
Well, in case you don't know, Lightful, the host of the webinar, we are a technology company for social good. We have a social media platform for nonprofits. We're also working on digital capacity building with many organizations, and we're also providing digital software solutions. Today, we're going to talk about Giving Tuesday Now. We'll have an introduction and talk about the idea of mobilizing the world through giving, how you can join Giving Tuesday Now, different ideas, and how you can really help, how you can join the day in many different approaches. We'll focus on some digital tips and some ideas that might help you for the planning, and start thinking ahead. With only 2 weeks, it's not that far. So what can you make the most out of it? How can you get organized in the next 2 weeks? And for those who are based in the UK, we'll also look at some specific tips and resources on how you can really make the most of it. Feel free to ask any questions. I'll be looking at the chat, and we'll also have a Q&A session in the end. So let's start with an introduction to Giving Tuesday Now, and I'd love to have Kathleen to help us more on the next slides.
Thanks so much, Teresa. I'm Kathleen Murphy-Toms. I'm the Director of Digital Strategy for the Giving Tuesday headquarters team. We are the folks who founded Giving Tuesday. My CEO is Asha Curran. She and Henry Timms founded Giving Tuesday back in 2012, which seems like both ages ago and very, very recently. The premise, as you may know, was let's create a day for giving. What does that look like if we create a day to celebrate generosity? And we landed on the Tuesday following Thanksgiving. Here in the US, we have Cyber Monday and Black Friday. And so the original premise was there's Black Friday, Cyber Monday, let's have a day to celebrate giving called Giving Tuesday. And that's how the whole thing started. The first thing that I want to say is probably my top question. Is Giving Tuesday now replacing Giving Tuesday? Are we moving Giving Tuesday? We are neither of those things. Giving Tuesday is still scheduled to happen on December 1st, 2020. That's another date that you'll want to block in your calendar. This is just an emergency response. We're considering an additional Giving Tuesday. Teresa, do I have slide control or not? Oh, I think
I can do it for you. Don't worry.
Okay, that'd be great. Thanks.
Yes.
A little bit of backdrop on how we arrived at Giving Tuesday Now. So just like many of you, as the coronavirus started to, roll out in sort of waves around the world and to the US, our team thought really hard about how we could best respond given our global footprint. Giving Tuesday is happening. There are 60 official countries, but there's activity that happens in literally every country around the world. So we wanted to leverage our megaphone as the leading voice for the generosity economy. We thought about what we could do given our distributed leadership network around the world. And at first we thought about small ways that we could maybe empower people to do things in response on the ground, but it really quickly became apparent that we needed to do something a little bit bigger. Next slide, Teresa.
Yeah.
And so we decided, at the urging of all kinds of partners, that it was really more important for us to try to think about what we could do that would be a more meaningful response to the crisis. And after a lot of consultation with a lot of people in our community, we decided that the best thing to do would be the thing that Giving Tuesday does best, which is to use our platform to spur people around the world to be generous, to create a spike in generosity, both for the benefit of nonprofits, and support that they obviously need so desperately right now. But it's really mostly to reinforce that our collective generosity has the power to heal communities, to unite communities, and to highlight the sort of strengthening of civic bonds that we so desperately need at this very moment. And so we launched Giving Tuesday Now as a global day of unity that's going to happen around the world on May 5th in 14 days. But who's counting? You can do the next slide, Teresa. We've been getting this question a lot, is it tone deaf to fundraise or sort of express the need for support in this moment? So part of the global Giving Tuesday Now, part of the goal of Giving Tuesday Now was to sort of create an umbrella under which all kinds of organizations could say, we too are addressing critical needs at this moment. And here's the part that we're playing. You all are part of the community of first responders. An attendee of one of our webinars recently pointed out that if you don't think that your organization is essential, just imagine what your community would be like without you and without the work that you're doing. With all of that said, I also want to be very clear that we recognize that participation for organizations might not be right for every single organization. There's always still a place for you to participate as an individual. That's for Giving Tuesday Now, and that's for Giving Tuesday in general. There's always a place for you to participate as an individual. You can do the next slide, Teresa. So some ways that you might think about participating as an organization. A core tenet of Giving Tuesday and of Giving Tuesday Now is that you should feel free to take Giving Tuesday and use it however you like. Turn it into something new. There's never any rules for how to participate in Giving Tuesday. And I want to stress again, if your organization doesn't feel like this is right for you, that's okay. If it doesn't feel like fundraising is right for you at this particular moment, that's okay. We have all kinds of other ways to shine a light on generosity on May 5th. You don't have to create a separate campaign for this. If there's something that you're already doing, a campaign that you're already working on, you can use Giving Tuesday Now to amplify that. You can share moments of generosity that are happening in your own communities, either related to your organization or not. One of the key messages that we're really focused on with this event is about how we're all coming together in this moment. We're using our skills, our talents, our ideas, whatever they might be, to help our communities to be strong, resilient, to heal, to move forward. We've been, as you can imagine, with all things Giving Tuesday, we've had all kinds of creative ideas coming. One nonprofit in East Los Angeles in the United States, since it's a Tuesday and it's also Cinco de Mayo, they're planning on delivering tacos to healthcare workers at 3 of their local hospitals. I've heard of a cancer support organization that they're not going to fundraise, but they want to virtually connect their past patients with current patients for things like moral support and connection and reduce that sense of fear and isolation. One that I just heard about last night was a local, I don't even think it's an organization, it's just a woman who wants to fundraise for her local Habitat for Humanity chapter. She is going to organize a virtual block party. She's going to recruit different businesses to come onto her live stream and talk about ways that the virus is affecting their business and how people can help. She wants to invite first responders and doctors to come on and talk about health and safety and what that should look like in their community. And then she's going to invite restaurants to come on her live stream for different meal times to do a live cook with me session. I'm kind of excited about it, and I think I might join. I'm going to attempt to join her day while I'm managing Giving Tuesday's social media on May 5th. It sounds like an exciting activation. You can do the next slide, Teresa. So again, I want to welcome you all to participate as individuals as well. We have a map feature on now.givingtuesday.org, and we're trying to map what generosity looks like in the world right now, not just on May 5th and all the days leading up to May 5th. So we're asking people to share their generosity, whatever they're doing. Everything from starting an 8 p.m. cheer in your neighborhood or town for healthcare workers. It's something we've been seeing happening all over the world. Things like buying gift cards to keep small businesses open, or maybe you're just helping a neighbor get their groceries. We want to hear about all that. So I invite you to pin your kindness activation to the map. Feel free to pin what your organization is doing in response to COVID-19 as well. We want to cover the whole world in kindness, so please help us do that. If you'd like some inspiration on things that you might post about on Giving Tuesday, I'd invite you to follow our channels. Every day through May 5th, and this is really just our social media strategy in general, we're sharing all the ways people all around the world have been giving back. So please feel free to share any of that content, use any of that content, get inspired by any of that content. We are on every single channel, including TikTok, so I invite you all to follow us and help us build a community that is rallying around generosity. And please submit your ideas too. I am the only person who manages our social channels, so if you DM us on any channel, you will get me personally. And so I'd love to hear what your organization is doing, what you're personally doing around coronavirus. When you post, please tag Giving Tuesday Now so that we can amplify that power of generosity. So that's about it from me, but we'll keep going. Last thing that I want to say is that while everything seems to be falling apart, we are still presented with an opportunity to get through it together and to put the world back the way that we want it to be, not necessarily the way that it was. That's one of the core tenets of Giving Tuesday Now. That's what the day is all about. And I'm going to hand it over back to Teresa.
Thank you very much, Kathleen. This is very useful. And I think it's really useful for everyone, and including myself, to understand Giving Tuesday Now as a concept. And as you've said, is there still Giving Tuesday happening in December?
Yeah, we're thinking about it in a little bit different way. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm going to stick around if there's questions afterward.
Perfect. Yes, we'll make sure we answer all the questions after the session in 20 minutes from now. So make sure you send everything at the chat. And let's look for now a little bit of the planning. Obviously, it's not a regular Giving Tuesday campaign, so we don't have the time in our hands to plan it, let's say 2 months beforehand. But we can still do some things if you want to start a campaign now in terms of the planning and over the next 2 weeks. As Kathleen said, it's not necessarily about planning a new campaign. It's more about trying to find new ways to make the most of your time and how you can add some value for your organization. So starting today or tomorrow, you can announce your participation to Giving Tuesday Now. As Kathleen said, it's useful to tag Giving Tuesday and use the hashtag Giving Tuesday Now because they're sharing what everyone is up to. And it's actually a great way to find inspiration from others and also to tell everyone what you're up to. So you can get your team on board. You can tell the rest of them what you're up to and how you think is a good idea to join Giving Tuesday Now. And also start thinking of the different ways you can join the day. As Gronia will also share afterwards, it doesn't have to be just about fundraising. If you are fundraising, it's a great way to make the most of the day. But you may also find other ways in terms of awareness and engagement. You might be running now an emergency appeal because we know that it's really a hard situation for everyone and it's challenging for all organizations. So if you are running right now an appeal, you might want to promote it in a different way and maybe just another approach during Giving Tuesday Now. Have a think of the plan on what makes the day different in terms of the ask. For example, you might still have the same appeal in mind, but you might want to focus more on the movement of generosity and how everyone is essential and how you can really tap into a global spark that everyone can come together on the day. Those who are actually supporting you and the loyal supporters and donors would have more chances to actually feel that they are part of the community and part of a movement. And whether it's a donation or just spreading the word, it's still useful for your organization. So have a think about your messaging and how is it linked with your emergency appeal? Is there something that you need to change with what you're saying right now on your social channels, or maybe a specific email to talk about Giving Tuesday Now? And also have a think, why should someone support you specifically on that day? Find a way to connect your current emergency appeal in the messaging with the day on Giving Tuesday now and May the 5th. And find the right sweet spot there to actually make sure that people have an opportunity to actually support you even more. It could be a much funding opportunity, and there are some great cases on the day, but it could be also a way for someone to feel even closer to your organization on a special day. Another idea, you could involve your supporters. You might update them now, or they might be with volunteers or just your actual team, and try to bring everyone together. For example, you might want to thank the essential workers and the healthcare workers right now, and you might encourage your supporters to actually create an image and share it on their social channels. User-generated content is always very useful because it's a great way to bring your supporters together while they're also spreading a word about your organization. So it's not always about fundraising. Those who actually feel that they want to support you, but they might not be in place to actually do a donation right now, they still should have some opportunities to support you in different ways. Have a think of your content. You don't necessarily need to create new posts right now or something completely from scratch as a campaign, but you can still think of some ideas and scheduling ahead. So think, what would you like to post on the day? How can you announce your participation right now? Or how can you remind your supporters, let's say a few days before Giving Tuesday now, that you're joining the day? And also have a think of your call to action. What would you like to have as your focus on the day? Is it about your emergency appeal? Is it anything else you're joining in terms of fundraising? Is it about thanking your supporters and show your gratitude? And then think of the logistics. Do you need to schedule some posts ahead? Would you like to create some quick images on tools like Canva? You can also find some ideas from the Giving Tuesday toolkits and find some inspiration on what would you like to share. And if you want to schedule your content, we'll be happy to help you. There is a free plan for Lightful. You can find some story builder templates, which is kind of planning your campaign, but also focusing on Giving Tuesday. So you just log in, you find the Giving Tuesday template, and you can schedule your posts based on some directions on what you can talk about. And then it's actually the day, the May the 5th, where you know that the hashtag will be trending, which means that there is a great opportunity to talk more about your organization and actually engage with others. You can focus on your active channels. You don't necessarily need to jump on every single channel because it's always hard to keep up with everything. But the goal is to be engaging. No matter what you're doing, it is a great opportunity to find inspiration from others, to feel part of a greater community, and even to thank your supporters, to feel that this is the day that I want to give back in my own way as an organization. And last but definitely not least, you need to make sure you enjoy the day. It's actually very heartwarming. I remember from the last Giving Tuesdays to have a look at your social feeds. It's nice to see more positive and inspiring content and actually see how organizations can come together. Even on the individual basis, actually feeling that you're part of the movement of generosity can be very helpful. And especially right now with the challenging times, I feel that it's probably a good idea. And some tips to remember. As we've said, you don't necessarily need to launch a new campaign. If you are planning something ahead, it could be a good idea to announce it during that time, but you don't need to plan a whole new campaign right now. For example, you might be joining in the UK the 2.6 challenge starting soon. You could also use it as another way to talk about this and thank your supporters. You can use your existing appeal or any content you might have. You can highlight your work and talk about the importance of surviving in this challenging situation. And then, of course, it's all about bringing the community together. You want to be engaging and try to find opportunities to connect with your supporters. There is the short-term urgency right now, but it's also good to remember that the more you build the relationship right now, especially in a challenging situation, the higher the chances in the future to actually be able to connect more with your supporters. And these were the tips from me, and it's time to hear more on the UK side of Giving Tuesday now and Gronie and Matthews, and the ideas and the plans if you are based in the UK with your organization or as an individual. Gronie, let me know when you want me to change the slides.
Okay. Thanks, Teresa. Hi, everyone. Yeah, so as Kathleen said, Giving Tuesday is all about making it work for you. We recognise that lots of businesses and individuals, normally the people that support our incredible charities as part of Giving Tuesday, are in a really difficult financial situation themselves. But we also need to recognise that there are lots of people out there who are in a position to give and actually really want to give. I think it's been demonstrable with the kind of outpouring of compassion and generosity that we've seen over the past few weeks and months. People getting together, fundraising, volunteering in their communities through mutual aid groups, helping out where they can, checking in on neighbours. And really, these are all the things that Giving Tuesday has been promoting and celebrating over the past 7 years now. And yeah, it's really wonderful and heartwarming to see all of this happening at a really difficult time. Yeah, Treza, thank you. And so to kind of strike the right balance for the UK, obviously lots of the global countries are taking different approaches depending on where they are with their current situation at the minute. And so we felt that actually having a gratitude campaign for Giving Tuesday now would really be a great way for everybody to come together on this global day of unity. Here we again just all of the people that have really stepped up and reached out to support our communities, and we just want to be able to say thank you and to show our appreciation for that. Obviously we absolutely love the clap for carers on a Thursday, and we think the rainbows in the window for the NHS workers are incredible, but there are lots of other people out there who have really stepped up and just kind of put themselves forward, really focused on how they can give back to help out at this really difficult situation. And so these are just some of the people that we think deserve some appreciation and thanks. Obviously this list is not exhaustive, but yeah, there's lots of people out there. And of course, as Kathleen said, charities are right up there with those essential workers. And I know lots of organisations feel that it's a really difficult time to go out with a fundraising ask, but and I don't think I could say it better myself, as Kathleen said, if you don't think that you're essential, just ask yourself what your community would be like without you. And there is an incredible need out there, and obviously it's great to see so many people supporting those charities that are on the front line directly responding to coronavirus. But there are lots of other organisations out there whose demand for services has massively increased because of the coronavirus and as an indirect impact. And of course, they're dealing with the same situations in terms of loss of fundraising, loss of donations, loss of trading from charity shops. And we think that it's really important in order to ensure that those charities are there when people need them now and in the future, that they are able to hook into a day and ask for that support that they need. And while the campaign is all about gratitude, we do encourage people to give if they are in a position to give. If you could just pass it on. Yeah. So we have kind of 2-3 main asks as part of the Giving Tuesday UK campaign. Our first one is share a message of thanks on social media. So this can be you want to show your gratitude to someone or to a group of people or to a group of workers who have really inspired you throughout the past few weeks and months. This could be someone in your family or in your extended friends or colleagues groups, someone who is working in the NHS, someone who has become a volunteer because they've been furloughed, someone who's checking in on neighbours, or someone who's working in a supermarket or a local corner store who is staying open to make sure that people are safe and well and have food. All of these people are really putting themselves front and centre in terms of giving back right now, and we think that they should all feel and be able to see our appreciation. Obviously, social media is incredible, but we would also love people to share a heart in their window and just to demonstrate to their community that actually they really do appreciate everything that people have done. And of course, you can combine these two. You can take a really nice picture of your heart and share that on social media. We have an incredible colouring in download from the Giving Tuesday website where people can print it off and give it to their children or to the big children in their house, if they want to color it in and put it in their front window, you can create your own. You can add your own personal message. You can highlight a charity that you absolutely love, or you can thank your donors or supporters. And of course, we're always saying, if people are in a position to give, then to make a donation to a charity or fund to help those affected. As Teresa said, lots of people will be engaging with the 2.6 challenge, which is an alternative to the now cancelled London Marathon, which obviously is an incredibly important part of fundraising for charities. And if you are getting involved in that, Giving Tuesday now is a perfect example, or a perfect opportunity to say thank you to your supporters, to the people who have donated, to the people who have fundraised for you. And it really is a day just when everybody can come together to recognise how people have helped out, how people have shared their generosity, and to say thank you for that, and to encourage more of that to happen over the next weeks and months. Yeah, so that's our main asks. Share a message of thanks on social, add a heart in your front window, and support a charity with a donation if you can. And we have lots of resources available on the Giving Tuesday website. So we have toolkits, we have quick kind of leaflets that you can hand out, can share with your employees or your staff or your friends or family. We have one for businesses, one for charities, and one for families and individuals. And we have, again, we have lots and lots of social media collateral, all thanks to Kathleen and our incredible design team at Giving Tuesday UK as well. Lots of things there to help you plan and kind of execute your day as easily and as quickly as possible. If there's, we're constantly updating that as well. So what you see there, there's actually more on it at the minute. So yeah, just keep checking back. We've also got some fundraising toolkits as well for individuals and families, as well as charities, with some great ideas on how you can engage your supporters in your networks. So obviously no group events, no public events, but lots of really interesting and creative fundraising opportunities. One that I absolutely love from one of our partners, Camden Giving, who held an virtual rave a couple of weekends ago on a Friday evening, complete with live DJ and virtual bar, which was incredible. But it just goes to show, you know, a little bit of creativity, a little bit of fun, and you can really engage your supporters in your cause. Thanks, Teresa.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Ronnie. And I love this idea from Camden Giving. It's actually the example that you can sometimes think outside the box and make the most of the lockdown to actually find new ways to engage with your supporters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's time to hear your questions, and let us know anything you want to ask around Giving Tuesday and Giving Tuesday Now. I see we have a couple of questions already. So the first one, can you go a little deeper or give an example for how an organization can still communicate how they might still be an essential business if the perception is otherwise? I think that was...
Sorry, I was
Yes.
talking, but I had muted myself. I'm going to be that person. I and many colleagues of mine, our whole team believes that there's no such thing as a non-COVID essential charity. Every single mission matters right now. Any diminished service in any sector has an incredible impact on our society, on our local communities, on people's lives, and the lives of our most vulnerable populations. Every single one of you matters so much, and please don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You are essential. Libraries, animal shelters, park foundations, theaters, everyone is essential. In Illinois, a few years back, there was a budget crisis, and the state was not paying its contracts with nonprofit organizations. And so as an advocacy campaign, we ran a virtual day without nonprofits. I forget which hashtag we used offhand, but it was a hashtag campaign, and we organized nonprofits throughout Illinois to talk about on this one day, and it trended, as you can imagine, what the budget, what a lack of budget would have on their organizations. And we did just what I'd said earlier. We showed people what it would look like if their organization did not exist, right? If the animal rescue shelter did not exist, here's what would happen. if my human services organization didn't exist? Here's what happened. Folks were creative. They, in some cases, were able to have their clients do a short video. A lot of cases able to have staff do short video about what that might look like. Some compelling footage that I saw last time around. And I mean, it strikes me emotionally now because folks would stage streets with no people. And it's a little bit weird to think about now that we're in that situation now, but whatever visuals you can come up with to show what your community might look like without you. That's my best advice.
I think it's a great idea. And another question. Can you recall an innovative way an organization has used their social media for Giving Tuesday? Any examples would be amazing. I'm sure there are loads. Anything that comes off your heads?
I mean, so many that I'm not even sure where to begin. Grania, how about you?
I suppose one of the ones that I came across was a small Giving Tuesday partner had a chili challenge where they planted a chili for every, I think it was every £100 donation that they got. And they had like a full-on story on social media where they had pictures of this little, I can't remember the name, they had like a little toy who was planting chilies, and they actually took pictures of them. They had like little chili pots the whole way up the stairs in their building. I suppose one of the other ones we had an incredible story from an organization called Tiny Tickers, and they help raise funds for pulse oximetry machines that help newborn babies, diagnose them with to help them be diagnosed with congenital heart defects. And so they had this campaign on kind of running, but on Giving Tuesday they decided to take a new approach, and they set a target. So their target was to raise enough money on this one day to buy one of the machines. I think it was £750. And they started the day off with a video from their CEO talking about the machine, showing the machine online, telling what it was. They also had like a Twitter takeover from their CEO. They shared incredible stories from families whose child had been diagnosed and successfully treated by one of these machines. And so they ended up smashing their target by like six times. I think they raised like £4,500, which was incredible. And then they ended up being able to send these machines out, and it meant that they were able to test 9,000 more newborns every year. I suppose just to go back on that, one of the things that can really help demonstrate your impact, or that can really help kind of show that you're essential, is actually to demonstrate your impact. And share your successes so that people know the impact that you have. And actually it's very, very easy then to demonstrate if you're not there. These people, these animals, whatever it is that you're working on, they will go unhelped. And so, yeah, I think it's Giving Tuesday has always been an incredible day for positivity. And I think that's really important to bear in mind. We're all struggling. It's a really challenging time, but actually there's so much incredible work being done, and charities are always at the forefront of that. So share the incredible work that you're doing, and be open and honest about your challenges, and share that with your supporters and your donors.
I think that's a really good point, on being honest and actually sharing the impact. And it definitely helps for sure with many Giving Tuesday campaigns in the past.
Definitely. I echo that too. Be as authentic as possible, right?
Alex is asking, first of all, he's saying thank you very much. It was really good to hear lots of ideas. And he wants to learn more about the virtual bar idea from Camden Giving. And if you remember anything else, Gronia, to share, he's saying that it might be a great way for our charity ball that was due to take place near Giving Tuesday.
I can't remember the exact logistics of it, but I can certainly find out from Grace. I think, yeah, they had a virtual bar, so obviously people were at home. They were enjoying this music. If they were at a gig, they would go to the bar and they would buy a drink. So they were asking people to do that in terms of that's how they would make a donation. But I can certainly find out the exact logistics of it and share that with you, Teresa, you want to share that then with the attendees?
Sure, I'm happy to share that. Pamela is asking, where is the downloadable heart for folks to color and put in the window? And
so
we can share that.
oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And
I just added to that comment in the chat to please take pictures of the sign in your window if you're able to, either from outside looking in or from inside looking out, which both perspectives I think are completely valid and could be really compelling. Share those on social media. You're welcome to start doing that today if you like, and tag us both Giving Tuesday and Giving Tuesday UK so we can share those signs and try to inspire more people to put the sign up.
I'll definitely try that. Any other questions? Anything else that you want to ask Kathleen Gronier? So Joe is asking, how did they carry out the virtual way we work with older isolated people? And I think this would be a great way to connect people. Is this, Joe, about the virtual pub idea we said from Camden Giving? Let us know more. Yes, we're happy to share more details. We'll make sure we'll check with Camden Giving to share more ideas and how they really made it happen, because it does seem to be a great idea. Anything else you'd like to ask? We have a couple more minutes.
I like folks to ask folks to tell us what it is that you're doing. We really look for these exciting and innovative ideas so that we can share with others. We have a Facebook group on our page. Grania, do you all have a Facebook group for Giving Tuesday UK?
I want to say yes, but I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure. I will have to check with our social team.
You're welcome to join ours in the meantime. I think you all do. If you go to the Giving Tuesday, yeah, either way, I'm pretty sure both of us have Facebook groups. Those are consistent of almost exclusively nonprofit professionals. In our group, they talk often, and especially more lately, about all the ideas that they are planning and coming up with. Please think about joining the group. We'd love to have you. It'll help you get ideas, but we'd also love to hear your ideas. Yes, please tag us in social media so that we can find out what you all are planning.
If you have any ideas in mind already, feel free to share at the chat, or of course, share everything at the Facebook group. Samantha is asking, how would you suggest encouraging giving? For example, through website donation forms, social fundraising, donate buttons, or just giving? Would you focus on one route for the day or try to mix them?
I think lots of our partners have seen great success by promoting as many as possible. So not just sticking with one. I think if you can, use Facebook, use Instagram, direct people through your website, have a link that encourages people through your fundraising platform. Yeah, I think just using as many as possible. I know there's also options to use text to donate, which is really easy. So yeah, I think just use as many as possible to kind of to cast the net as wide as possible.
Exactly. Capture as many folks as possible. Instagram donation sticker too is another one that you might think about, at least just having available to you. Thoughts on how individuals can help. Lots of thoughts on how individuals can help. We built a page at now.givingtuesday.org for individuals specifically. There's all kinds of ideas on there, everything from thank your local healthcare workers and first responders to checking on elderly neighbors. We have a lot of communities here in the US that are forming mutual aid type networks, and we hear of this happening throughout the world too. Really close-knit neighbor organizations just to check on each other, assign tasks, bring meals to people who need them. We're sharing ideas throughout the next couple of weeks for both nonprofits but mostly for individuals to participate. So please keep an eye on our social channels for more ideas.
Perfect.
Yeah, and we also have a fundraising toolkit for individuals and families as well. Some really fun ideas of what they can do kind of among their own friends and family to help fundraise for their favorite cause as well, apart from all of those other activation ideas.
Kelly says we'll do a few fundraisers throughout the summer, so we'll definitely take part in this. We're doing the 2.6 challenge and we'll think of something creative for Giving Tuesday. Sounds good. Elspeth says it's been a joy and privilege to ring our volunteers during lockdown to see how they are, update, reconnect as a community, and gather the wonderful ideas.
Elspeth, that's really great. I'm so glad you're doing that.
Sounds great. Kelly is adding, we're thinking about a virtual afternoon tea on Zoom and our local catering company doorstep delivering afternoon tea. That sounds great.
Wow.
That sounds amazing. Yeah.
That does sound amazing.
It's a great idea.
This 2.6 challenge sounds fantastic. I think I want to do it.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea. So the London Marathon, obviously 26.6 miles, should have been happening on Sunday the 26th. And so they have, I think it raised 66 million for charities in the UK last year. So obviously a massive chunk of fundraising for good causes. And so lots of people have got really creative. Tiny Tickers, the organization I was talking about earlier, their CEO is running 2.6 kilometers every 2.6 hours, I think, or every hour for 26 hours. And someone in our team at Giving Tuesday is going to make 26 cupcakes and decorate them within 2.6 minutes. Amazing. So yeah, people are really kind of pulling it out of the hat.
Oh, that is so cool.
It's very creative and it feels like it matches because it's close to Giving Tuesday now as a whole campaign that you can think of as an organization.
Yeah, that part, like this from Anna Reeve, the supporter doing the 26-minute belly dance on film, and that's one of the, not that exact example, but that's one of the examples that we have in our toolkit, our fundraising toolkit. You know, you have a wealth of knowledge and experience, not just in your board members and your staff, but also in your supporters. And why not encourage them to share those skills for, you know, a nominal donation online? So host a masterclass in gardening or cake decorating, or do a book reading. And you know, it's a really incredible time to kind of tap into all of those, the generosity that's out there.
And Gemma says something similar. We're a small charity and launched the workout challenge for 2.6. It has 4 exercises with 26 reps. It's also our 26th anniversary. That's perfect. We've raised almost £1,000 already, and it's a nomination challenge across social media to look after itself.
Challenges of any type are so great. They've always worked out well for Giving Tuesday. Do you all remember the selfie challenge? That one's kind of coming back.
Oh yes.
I'm hearing a lot of folks that are planning on doing that. It's really simple. You write on a piece of paper what cause or what generous act you're doing, and then tag 5 other people to do that activity along with you. I'm excited to see how that one pans out. Some of our young folks are looking to do a TikTok challenge. I'm interested to see how that pans out.
Sounds great. Perfect. I think it was really useful to hear both from you on the things you're planning, and obviously I imagine it's very busy trying to organize all the things in such a short amount of time. But thank you so much for joining today, Kathleen and Gronia, and everyone else who dedicated this hour to check the webinar and get some ideas on Giving Tuesday now. I'm actually hoping that you found some inspiration to try some things on May the 5th. And please let us know on social media and tag Giving Tuesday and Giving Tuesday UK. We want to make sure we see all the ideas. Thanks so much for joining, everyone. Again, thanks, Kathleen. Thanks, Gronia.
Thanks for having me.
Have a good afternoon.
Everyone.
Have a good day.
Bye. Cheers.